Hey guys, I got the injury report for you. DMPs today was Josh Garnett, Dwayne Haskins, Greg Stroman, and then Ryan Anderson back was DMP. Rouye, Gibson, Kyle Allen were all full, and Brandon Sheriff was also full, but you will not see him on the report. He is still on IR. With that, I can open it up.
You know, before we do anything, just wanted to first of all congratulate Sean DeBarbieri, you know, on his situation. You know, working full time with the football sides of it, and his folks Charlie Moulet and Jesse Johnson. Those guys have been great since I've been here, and I think this is a pretty exciting thing for Sean and his group of people. So with that, any questions?
You're up, Sam.
Oh, there we go.
Sorry about that. Hey, Ron, how would you describe practice today and getting ready for the Giants? How would you say that you guys are doing?
I thought the tempo was good. You know, one of the things that we talk about is up-tempo practice. I thought it was good. I thought the guys worked hard. The focus was there. There's good energy. So, you know, we'll see. We'll see how that translates as we get closer and closer to Sunday.
And I know there's a couple days for you to decide, but is there any sense of whether you think Dwayne will be able to travel with the team?
I know. We'll have to wait and see. I do know he's seeing the doctor today, so we'll go from there.
Thank you.
Hey, Ron, John Kine. I'm curious, with a young team coming off 4 straight losses and your double-digit losses, what's the challenge for you to keep that group kind of mentally sharp?
Well, I think the one thing is to talk about what we're trying to do. You know, we're trying to obviously develop a football team, and that's what we're going to do. You know, win or lose, you know, going forward, the bottom line and the thing that we have to understand is we're going to play to win. And we're most certainly going to play to develop guys that we believe are going to help us. And that's what we got to do as we go forward.
And then also with Dwayne, can you shed a little bit more light on maybe what they're looking for? Because as you know, like given the situation that happened last week, there are a lot of people wonder what's going on with him.
Well, I mean, I couldn't tell you. I'm not the doctor. I do know he will be seeing the team doctor a little later today, or he may have already seen him. But, you know, again, he checked in this morning, went through the COVID. There was something that, you know, in seeing the doctors this morning that he went home and he's going to see the doctor this afternoon. That's all I can tell you.
Hey, Ron, outside of the injury report itself, what can you tell us about Sadiq Charles and just how he's looked, how he's recovered from this injury and where he's at?
He looks good. He really has. He's had a couple of good reps, practice days, taking the reps that are planned out for him, and he's handling that very, very well.
And then what are you looking for broadly on the offensive line as we see you kind of shuffle it up?
Well, again, we want to see consistency. We want to see our guys play physical and stout up front, and just, you know, really be consistent more than anything else.
Brianna?
I don't think.
It looks like she's answering. Nikki, you could hop her.
Ron, I don't know if we're allowed to ask this, but Sadiq playing some guard, was that the plan all along in his first year to get him some reps inside, or are you trying him at just new spots?
We're just trying to get him reps more than anything else and see where he fits. You know, he's a young football player. He's a good football player. He's a physical guy, and we got to find out where he can play and where he fits best for us. And this is a guy that's going to have to play and get a lot of reps.
Thanks.
Yep.
Rhiannon, I think we skipped you. You could hop in.
Rhiannon, you go ahead.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. My Zoom is being so weird. No, I was just going to ask, Ron, you mentioned the fact that you guys are trying out different people at different spots, and I'm noticing the linebackers. Is that a place where you guys are possibly looking just to see what guys can do, especially with this 5-game stretch ahead of you guys with some losing teams? Would that be something you are doing?
Yes, it is a position we are looking at most certainly, you know, and you know, we anticipate Cole Holcomb being ready to play for us. You know, he's not on the report. He hasn't had the opportunity, so we're going to give him the opportunity, and we're going to see how that goes. You know, if there is one position that really on the defensive side I'd like to see a little bit more for, it is the linebacker position. I'd like to see them be a little bit more consistent and productive. You know, they've had good numbers, but we've given up some plays, and in my opinion, it can be directly related to that position. I'd like to see that position play better for us.
When you say consistent and productive, exactly in what regard are you referring to? You mean in passing situations or running?
Overall, in general, and a little bit more consistency is, again, we make a couple plays, but then we allow something to happen. And we can't do that. We have to be consistent where we're not going to allow those plays, and we're going to be where we're supposed to, and we're going to continue to not allow those plays. I hear it when we do our reviews on Monday from the coaches, oh, we did this, but we gave up that. Well, we can't go where we gave up that. That doesn't work.
Thank you, Ron.
All righty.
Scott.
Hey, Ron, Scott Abraham, ABC7. On game days, I see a lot of your coaches and players wear these Rivera Strong T-shirts. And I'm wondering, what do those two words mean to you? How do you define Rivera Strong?
Well, I think the big thing, and it's, it's kind of been a catchphrase that's been used. I know Lance Armstrong did a real big thing with that, and Chuck Pagano did a real big thing. And it's really about, people being supportive, people being behind you. And then for me personally, it's really just trying to set the example as I go through this. It's just trying to be strong, and just show, that, hey, this is manageable. This is something that, we can beat, we can get past, and having folks support you has really been a great thing for me personally. It really has. I get notes every day, and it truly does mean something, and it really does lift your spirits. So when you see those things individually, as an individual, I see those things. It really does help me. I can't explain why, as much as I just know that it's great to know that there's folks behind me and praying for me. I mean, their thoughts, they're wishing the best, and that's really cool.
If you don't mind me asking, how have you been feeling, and how many more treatments do you have, and when does treatment kind of end for you?
I've got 7 more proton therapy treatments, and I have 1 more chemo cycle, and it ends, I think it is October 26th, I think is the day. Let me see. Today's the 15th, 16th, 17th. We play 18th, 25th. It's the 26th, my last day.
You've been feeling okay? I mean, health-wise?
Well, I have, because I'm at the end of my second cycle, so things start to come back. But then again, once I start my next cycle, then things will be all foggy again.
Harris.
Yeah. Hey, Ron. Just wanted to ask again about Sadiq Charles. How much of your switch at guard is kind of maybe out of necessity? And is there something about Sadiq that you like at guard versus tackle, whether his positioning or anything you've seen there?
Well, I think it's out of, first of all, just a bigger body, a more physical body at guard for us. I like what Wes Martin does. Wes is a really good puller. He's good in space. He's a physical blocker when he's in space. And, and watching Sadiq at the point of attack at the line of scrimmage is a little more stout. And so this is a move, to see what happens. And how he handles it, and do I think he could play tackle? Yeah, I do. But right now, I think this is a move a little bit out of need.
And then, just what are your impressions of Daniel Jones? You haven't really asked about him.
Oh, I think Daniel's got a live arm. I think he's a smart football player. He's a young football player that the more he plays, the better he's going to be, and the more he's going to grow. I think he's a good football player, though. And I think they're building things the right way. They've got an impressive offensive line, and they got some big physical guys up front, and they've got good playmakers around him.
Hey, Ron, it's JP Finley. You've talked about how important these next 3 are, division games. How has it been also having to handle this Dwayne stuff on the outside?
Well, honestly, the only time I have to handle it is when you guys ask about it. That's the truth. I mean, I get the reports and we go from there. I mean, if the young man's feeling ill, and we got to respect that and make sure that, he's getting the proper care, and he'll be back when he's feeling better and healthier, and I mean it. The only time it becomes a distraction is when you guys are talking about it.
Ben?
Hey, Ron, you've said before that when you were at Carolina, you guys did your homework on Dwayne. Just curious, what did you, presumably you did some on Daniel Jones. What stood out to you about him at that point in the pre-draft process?
Well, we thought Daniel Jones was a guy that was a smart football player, live arm, good athleticism, good decision maker. He was in a good system that he understood and played well. He was very well coached. So he's a guy I think that in time is going to grow and fit right into what they're trying to do. It's a good system. From what I see, it reminds me a lot of the system that's in New England right now when Tom Brady was running it. So there are some good things that they do, and we've got to be able to handle them.
Darren.
Hey, Coach, just two quick questions. One is just a follow-up to just get better understanding. When you say Dwayne went home, I just want to just clarify the confusion. Is this the training staff? This is the training staff sending him home?
There really is no confusion. The young man's ill, okay? And so because he's feeling ill, we don't want him to come into the building and spread, whatever flu-like symptoms he has. So he went home. He's seen the doctor, and we'll let the doctor determine what's going on. And that's the truth. I mean, I'm not the doctor, guys. Okay, just so everybody understands it. I'm telling you what I'm being told from the trainer or what information I get from the doctor. Okay, so there's really not a lot to clarify right now. That the young man is ill, and we're trying to take care of him so he gets better and we can have him back at practice. Okay.
We'll take three more: Chris Russell, Heather, and Les.
Hey, Ron, good afternoon. Just curious, James Bradberry is a guy who signed a big contract, obviously from Carolina with the Giants, and Dave over the offseason. Looks like he's had a pretty good start to the season. What stands out to you about him, being that you obviously were part of drafting him and kind of, I guess, helping him grow into what he is now?
Well, he's a physical corner. He is very physical. He gets his hands on guys, and he can stone them at the line of scrimmage. He can reroute them and get them off of their routes. That's one of his strengths. His other strength is he plays with good vision. He got good anticipation, and he's physical with the ball. When the ball's in the air, he's going to fight whoever's going for it. And that's the kind of football player that you really do appreciate.
Hey, Ron, are there any experiences, from your longtime coaching coordinator player that you draw on with this young team and I guess struggling with the last few games? Is there anything that you can specifically think of, situations that you use as motivation or think to some advice you got as you move ahead with this season?
Is that you got to keep playing. I mean, no matter what happens, you have to keep playing. I mean, I was in the same situation as a first-time head coach. I was in the same situation as a first-time coordinator. Things are going to be hard. I've said it from the beginning. This is not going to be easy. I'm not going to, just because I'm showing up, we're going to win the division. We got to work through. There's a lot of things to grow through. And you have to keep playing, and you have to keep playing the guys that you think are going to help you going forward. And that's what we're trying to do right now. We're going to play guys that we think can help us. But as I said, there's an interesting stretch right now. There's 5 games that are very impactful, and that we have an opportunity and a chance. So we're going to see what happens, and we're going to go for it. And that's all I'm doing right now is I've changed my approach to us. A big part of it is looking at the schedule from the beginning, saying these first 4 games are going to be very interesting, but we're developing. These next 4, based on where we are, we have a chance. We'll see what happens.
Last one.
Hey, Ron, on the play when Kyle got hurt the other day, is there a part of the old, gung-ho, lights out linebacker in you that liked what he was doing there? Or does the coach of you, say, don't do that, don't do that?
Well, the gung-ho linebacker in me loved it because, here's a guy that's going to fight and scratch and do whatever he can to help you win. Unfortunately, he got a helmet-to-helmet shot. He got a pretty good shot in the back. But I was fired up for him, and obviously until he got up woozy, and then I was a little concerned. And that's the head coach in me. So I was split on it. Like you said, the gung-ho linebacker in me was fired up. The head coach was fired up until I realized it when he kind of got up, and he was his arm, and he was a little bit concerned there. Obviously, thank goodness it was his left arm, his left side, as opposed to it being his right.
How do you, just really fast, how do you balance in between wanting him to be aggressive, but you know, he's your quarterback. I mean, how is that?
Well, sometimes discretion is a better part of valor, and he and I have had that conversation about sliding and not taking the big shots sometimes.